Hi there, Deborah Ivanoff, the Being Coach. We are back in our process of working, looking at the past, setting into the future of the new year. So we started early and we're just pushing on. We're working a little process where you fold your paper in half and half again. And we have different squares that we're working ourselves through the process that's going to keep us productive and keep us supported as we're working towards what we want. Last week, I invited you to do a little ritual. Well, I'd love to hear how that went for all of you. I hope you had fun with it. I've heard amazing things from clients who have chosen to go ahead and do something like that or something similar. By the way, you can tailor it and have some fun. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Let me know how it went for you. I'd love to hear. This week we're coming back. Remember, we figured out what we want, why we want it, cleared out the stuff. We talked about who people are being who already have it. We talked about our strengths. We talked about who we must be being. And now we're talking about who can be a resource, who can be on our team. So on your paper, I want you to grab that next square, square 7, and I want you to write who. There's a wonderful book called Who, Not How. Now, anybody with me? Do you get, when you set out on a journey to something you want, can you get stuck because you don't know the next step? You don't know how. I hear this a lot of times. Like, I don't know how to do that. That's what gets me stuck. Well, sometimes this process can really help. And sometimes knowing before we even need it, who could be some possibilities that we could call on for help, for support, for assistance, to hire, what are our resources? So I want you to think about who. We don't have to do it all and do it all alone. There's a wonderful book that Barbara Sher, who wrote the book Wishcraft, and I'm trying to think, I think well, I want to say it's team building, but I don't think that's what the book is. She wrote a book about how in the West, people would come and they'd homestead, and then they would every year, all the neighbors would build one person's barn, and then year after year after year, a barn got built every year, and they all helped one another. We seem to have lost somewhere in this Yankee ingenuity and independence. We've lost this ability to help one another and accept help from one another. And I think it is very important to think about who could help me in this endeavor and also who I could help, by the way. But there needs to be some equality back and forth. If you're someone who's a giver and you never get yours, that we could definitely talk about that. But I want you to just, for this today's, I want you to stay focused on number 7, who who could help you? Do you have a best friend who could listen to you? Do you have parents who could support you? Do you have children who could support you? It doesn't mean monetarily, although it might. Do you have a bank who could lend you money and give you a bridge loan? Do you have a virtual assistant who could take some of the load off? Could you get a virtual assistant that could take some of the load off? Could you try a new system that makes something more automated or easier? Could you let go of some things? It doesn't have to be perfect. Could you let go of some things and open some space up that someone could come in and do something for you? So, who could help you? That goes for support as well: coach, therapist, clergy. Who else am I thinking of? Yeah, best friend, someone trusted, right? You may need a physician on your team. You may need a nutritionist on your team. You may need a physical therapist or a yoga instructor on your team, right? If it's about physical things. You may need a breathwork provider on your team. You may need an acupuncturist on your team if it's about energy or processing or healing. Yes? Who needs to be on your team? Who could really be beneficial to you? Because when you know that, then quite often those things will begin to come to you, and it's really amazing how they can show up in like a really beautiful, timely manner. Okay. So number 7, who? Number 7, who needs to be on your team? Who do you need? Okay. Next time it's number 8. It's square number 8. Ooh, my favorite square, but only because we've done all the other squares. Yes. So come on back, number 8. Thank you so much for joining me on this very fun journey over all these weeks. I know that this is going to give you so much better results than just making a miscellaneous New Year.